Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the live stream. I'd appreciate if everyone would consider joining my Discord. I have a really good Discord. We have a good group of guys in there. It's free to join, or everything's free. I'm going to post that link right here. Anyway, I got a new couple of people at lunch, so hopefully I'll get to meet some of you all. Stop by and say hi. Stop by and say howdy. All right, let's talk about the market. Freaking the damn market had to go ahead and just close on the dead lows. I always clean the house on Fridays. You guys know that. So to get the house clean for the weekend. So I started cleaning about 1:30 and I got in the shower about 2:30. I was watching on the iPad while I was cleaning, and at 2:30 it was bouncing. It was just hella bouncing. I was hoping we could hold this black line you see right here on this chart. This black line is the August pullback low. Well, no, we didn't hold it. In fact, we slipped 50 handles underneath it, right on the close. Anyway, it's fine. Bad ending to a bad week. So we shall see what happens over the weekend. But it's what it is. Anyway, this chart looks particularly bearish. It's a super short-term chart. It's a 5-minute chart. I watched every tick of this market today. Okay, but let's put it back on 30-minute and let's get in here to some cues and let's look at a little broader perspective on the thing. I mean, my gosh. I don't even know what to say about that. Now let's go. Let's see what the cues, if they stopped at the August low. They did. The Qs stopped at the August low. For now, I mean, if it gets past that, I know people that are looking at 410. You know, it just depends on your time frame. On a 30-minute time frame, we're just wanting this darn thing to revert to mean up here at 477. But anyway, all right. So we'll see. Maybe that's next week. Maybe that's what's going to go on next week. Russell is the weakest of the bunch. I heard a stat about Russell today. I heard that Russell was all the way back to November of 2023 or October of 20, that low that I don't even have the big orange boxes on here for where the gaps are, but on Russell, but great opportunities next week to sell the rip. It sucks when we're under the 200-day moving average, but there are some good things about it. If you like to buy options, it's easier to buy options, but the bad thing is when we're under the 200-day, the normal selling option strategies that you're used to using typically don't work as well. So anyway, we'll try to find some good strategies for next week. But yeah, let's go back. This is at 181 on the Russell. So let's wind it back. I can't even go back that far. All right. Well, that's fine. So let's look at some good news. The good news is Bitcoin is looking strong on a relative basis. The other good news is volatility's not as bad as it could be. Let's just say volatility looks pretty rough, but it could look worse. We'll check and see how the closing went. We'll see if the volatility, I hope volatility didn't set a new high on the close also. Oh my God, surely not. There's no way. Volatility usually sets highs on the open and then shrinks as the day goes on. But that close was pretty freaking nasty. And the SPY, it lost the August low by 50 handles. I mean, all right. Bitcoin, just looking great. Mean in the time frame I follow is 82. They're above mean. Which is the only thing out of the assets we've been looking at that's above their mean. So hopefully they'll drag everything else back up with it. All right. What else should we look at now? I'm really mad about my GDXY, but I know it's not GDXY's fault. It's GDX's fault. GDXY just sells options. It can't help what the parent company does. But so I'm mad at GDX. But holy cow, that is a That's something else. That is a bad route there. Oil got killed today too. The only hedge that worked today was this one, inverse tech stocks. Here's inverse NVIDIA. And here is inverse Coinbase. Let's check out inverse, just the market, YQQQ. This one didn't hedge me too much today. I think that the market's dropped so fast. You know, when you sell covered calls and you're selling a call and it goes past your strike and you're topped out. Well, they're selling covered puts, but it's dropped just past their strike. They're capped out. I mean, but they've done a good job hedging this week. But YQQQ was not providing me the hedge today that it was earlier in the week. But that's one of its weaknesses. It's not truly inverse. Anyway. It's not a pure hedge where you can put it on, it'll offset 1-to-1 or offset in proportions. It'll offset part of the pullback until it gets topped out. All right, so I'm trying to find that. Let's look at the model portfolio. I don't know where it is. It's right there. Switch to tab. But yeah, I looked. This was. I was barely beating SPY earlier. It looks like I closed the day. It says loading. Hang on here. There we go. Closed the day down 367 basis points. SPY was down 585 basis points. I mean, thanks to that end of day, route. You know, I didn't even beat 60-40. Or I did beat 60-40. I did not beat just bonds by itself. Bonds were a better hedge today than high yield funds. But that's still pretty impressive that high yield funds were as good of a hedge as bonds, which are traditionally a flight to safety, which is why they did so much better than SPY today on a day like today. So let's see what happened. The individual ones. I mean, YQQQ, it was up 1%. GPTY was down 6.5. Alti was down 5.3. GDXY down 8.6. My Lord, I need to drink, not a beer. But I don't drink, but Pellegrino, a little. All right. Zomo looked bad. Everything looked bad. Holy cow, except fiat and dips. Why SPY only being down 1.7 is impressive to me. Somebody pointed out to me in Discord, and I appreciate whoever it was. I forget who it was, but that's impressive. Now, wasn't it down like 7% or something yesterday? But just to be down 1.7 today when the market's down 5.5, yeah, that's somewhat impressive, right? All righty, YMAX. I love YMAX is down 6.5. I mean, there's just no good news. The best other good news. Oh, well, look, was Square really up? Was XYZY up? It says it was up. Let's go check it out. No, I meant to go to FinViz. XYZY. I thought the last ticker was fine. Skies, SQY. All right, XYZY. Dow closes below 40,000 for the first time since August. So I guess the Dow took out that August low also. Looks like the NASDAQ's still holding it, the August low. Or let's just say it's closer. Well, first of all, I'm worried about the assets under management of a fund like this. It had 90 at the height, and now it has 60. Okay, so that's, yeah. But a lot of that is the price coming out of it too. It's not, I mean, there's not a lot of big red lines, but there's a cluster of red lines as it started doing bad. But in any event, and it was down today. It was not up. It's down 6.89%. Why is Google Sheets so bad? It just sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Yeah, the Qs are down 30 handle or 30 points. I mean, I guess Qs are points. Futures trade in what they call handles. So I don't know why they call futures handles, but I looked it up once, but I forgot. All right, well, let's see here. XYZY, I can't believe it. Why is it showing up 1.95? That's got to be, oh, well, I figured it out. It was broken some other day, and I had to probably yesterday, and I had to manually input the right price, and then I forgot to adjust it back. Happens all the time. Oh, this is just going to get ugly. Now I'm down 3.68% on the day. Anyway. Okay, it's whatever. It is absolutely fine. Let's go to the buffer report and see what's going on here. Here is we'll start with the Alti-Grid. All right. Alti's down 5.3. Average stock is down 7. GameStop up 11%. Good job, GameStop. That's been a good stock for a three-leg. A risk reversal. I thought about doing one last week or a couple weeks ago, just because it seemed like because it had earnings and people were talking about it being in play again, being a meme stock again. Anyway, well, that's great for people that did that. People that have calls or stock, awesome. All right, so GameStop is up, MicroStrategy is up. That's good to see, and more up. It's a trend. It's that Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to save the market. Bitcoin is going to save the market. Let's see how. So presumably LFGY should be pretty good. Yeah, just down 1.4. That's good, especially with the average stock down 4.6. These option strategies are doing a great job. There we have Riot Blockchain, mining crypto, Bitcoin, whatever. MicroStrategy's up. IBIT is even up. That's awesome. Mara, hey, is beautiful. And Cores is up. CORZ. All right. Well, unfortunately, now I have to look at oh my God, GPTY. These stocks, just no one likes tech, and no one likes big tech anymore. No one. I thought freaking because the big tech bros gave Trump a lot of money that they would be safe. That's how I rationalized it. You know but I will say this: the Bitcoin's held up well, but Silicon Valley, not so much. At first they did pretty well, but yeah, I mean, I think the TikTok deal that went through today was taken. I mean, they're not saying there's not some steps in the right direction, but it's been kind of rough going for the Silicon Valley boys. Apple's down another 7% today. I mean, it's just the really bad thing about this is the hedge isn't working. GPTY is down just as much as the average stock. That's how is that happening? I mean, they have a massive Q hedge on there, but they probably had to monetize it as the market's been dropping. And maybe I haven't been watching it every day, but it's harder than it looks because you have to decide when to take it off. Maybe they took it off last week. Well, I don't know. It looks to me like they just keep it on. I'll review the trades this weekend, or we'll see what. I'll at least review today's trades this weekend. Anyway, all right, that's GPTY. So index buffer report. The old index buffer report. SFAL down 9.3%. That's ugly. Even XDTE it gets hurt by gaps down, and to be fair, there was a giant gap down this morning. So, but there's nowhere to hide unless you had Y-Spy. Unless you had Y-Spy or FIRS did well by comparison. Also, of course, LFGY and the inverse fund, YQQQ. Those are pretty much the highlights. Lowlights are, you got to be kidding me on this one. THTA is down 20%. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. That's why I hate iron condors. You never hear me talk about iron condors. I hate iron condors. I don't know. If I was president, I would sign an executive order. I'd make them illegal. No more iron condors. I'd also make it illegal to show the commercials on TV with the show the sick animals and make you sad, or the sick children. No, tugging at your heartstrings. I hate those commercials. I have to turn it every time it comes on. They show them all the time on the financial channel. Daytime TV is really bad. All right. I guess the weekend's here. Not soon enough. I mean, the only good thing about the weekend is, I guess for now, it's stop the market from dropping. I'm going to be watching something called Weekend Wall Street this weekend, that even though the markets are closed, there's bookie shops in London that take bets, and it's more sophisticated than bookies, but the market never closes overseas from what I understand. It's actually Tasty Trade's parent company, IG, that owns Weekend Wall Street, and you can make plays in the weekend. So anyway, it's a pretty good proxy for what futures are doing. So I'll check it. I'll check it this weekend. I'm going to be checking it often, and I'll be posting on Discord often. So if you guys are around, we can talk in Discord or whatever. I'm sorry to hear that Khmer got his channel taken down. I don't know any of the details. I'm not trying to get political or anything. Speaking of that, okay, not Khmer, but I really like this guy, a financial influencer. His name's George Gammon. He's a great guy, but he's a little bit conspiratorial and stuff, and a little bit kind of out there. But he just had a video today, and he has 5 YouTube channels, and he does. He's a big end the Fed guy. He wants to end the Fed. He's a Fed truther and stuff. Great guy. But he got 4 of his channels taken down. The only one he has left is his main one, and he appealed some of them. Anyway, I don't know what's going on YouTube, but from the story I heard is that Khmer's got his channel taken, or he had a conflict at work or something, actually. So anyway, whatever. Khmer was the what do they call it? The gateway drug to a lot of these high yield funds for these people, and retire on dividends. And and here we are, a year and a half later. It's been a heck of a run. It's been a heck of a run. All right, I'm going to try to catch up with your comments. There's actually too many of them to catch up with. I'll just let you guys talk to each other today. Danny, I appreciate you being here. Denny, I don't know if I remember your name. I appreciate you being here. Mark's a regular. What are you saying? There's a whole lot of fun. Yeah, I haven't got a margin call. Thank gosh. Good. VIX is plus 45. Yeah. Well, I was just going to look how VIX futures closed on the final print. I don't really look at VIX. Let's just look at that real quick. Thanks for reminding me. I hate trading view today because it's so slow, and it set a new high on it went out on the highs. Oh my gosh, it went out at 32. Well, when it does the opposite, it goes out on the lows, and maybe the market closes kind of wherever, but the VIX is going out on its lows. Then you think, okay, Monday this thing's going to rally, but that's not given the look of Monday we got a rally. Not yet anyway. So I remember when I drew this black line yesterday, and I was wanting that high to hold. As long as that high held, this sell-off didn't have to get worse. But as long as that high held, when that high went, it caught it. You see what happened. That it's got worse. Anyway, and the next thing I'm really worried about is this where there's no volume down here. there might be buyers, but I don't know. I'm not worried about it so much in VIX. But this kind of strategy where I'm showing you the liquidity voids and stuff, it really works well in SPY and SPX and stuff. I forget I'm talking about it in VIX. In VIX, the only reason that happened in VIX is just VIX is different. All right, so but yeah, so let's look at VIX cash, which Mark said is 45. VIX cash is good to follow also because it doesn't futures change when in relation to where you are in the expiration cycle and stuff. But VIX cash is VIX cash, and 45, is ugly. Let's do this. Let's put it on a weekly chart. Get a little perspective. All right, let's see how many times. Let's see when the last time we were here was. August 5th. We were past here, way past here. Okay, and we rallied after that pullback. Then April of 2020, a lot in 2020, probably April through March, February, March, and April of 2020. Obviously, we were at the same spot. And I remember this one well, January of 18, and that was when the VIX products blew up. Anyway, I wasn't trading yet then. I had, but I was. I remember hearing about it. I hadn't started trading again yet. I'd been off for a few years. But anyway, okay. So January of 18 was, but that was a good buying opportunity. All these were good buying opportunities. Then when in August of 2015, I don't even remember what that was. That was like, was that when there was a Greek crisis? I think this was in October of 11, though. I think this was the Greek crisis. Then we have something happened in 10. And then, of course, 9 was 9 and 8 is what we're trying to avoid this time. And I think that's why a lot of people are so concerned about the events going on and stuff, because it just seems like the news gets worse and worse every day. And it seems like our leaders they don't seem to be anyway that responsive to regular people's concerns with 401ks and stuff. So it's scary. I surely, I would say the only time we've been to this spot that it wasn't a good buying opportunity was in October of 2008. So we still had a couple more years of pain in front of us. But then we go back further than that. We go back to 2002, and then we go back to 1998. And that's when the VIX was born, I think. I think it was born in the late 90s. But it's rarefied air up here. It's rarefied air up here. And I know it's too late to this. It's not going to do you any good to hear this now. But whenever VIX is doing this, you no longer have a built-in advantage just selling options. You can't just sell every option you see and they all, that's something that happens the other 70% of the time. About 70% of the time, the market behaves normally, and about 20 to 30% of the time, the VIX is out of control. It's above its Bollinger Bands. It's doing in normal trade. If you haven't been doing well lately, normal trades that you have been doing great all year for you probably stopped working, and it's and it's because when you put a trade on and you're selling options, like a lot of people in my room do. Yes, you're trying to get the direction right. You're selling puts. Yeah, you want the stock to go up a little bit. It helps to get the direction right, but you're also really counting on the fact that volatility during a bull market has a natural, it goes down every day. Just, naturally, about 70% of the time, it's contracting, kind of, it's waning. It's waxing. It's not waning. Or which one? Waxing or waning? I get waxing and waning mixed up. Anyway, but so that's hindsight. So next time you see volatility get out of control or whatever, it's take a few weeks off. The other 70% of the time you can write puts on the SPY every day and make good money. Pretty consistent money. Dips are usually bought within 2 or 3 days. You guys know the drill. And that's the way it works. The market will go through a year and a half and it'll be perfect like that. Maybe have a couple little pullbacks where it's down for 2 weeks and then it's back or something. But every 2 or 3 day pullback spot Well, that's your time to stack. That's your time to make lots of money. Then either get puts, like I have puts all the time, so I'm a bad example. But either get puts or take some time off. I mean, because that's one thing that you could say about any time that it's been up here. You could also look at mathematically. Maybe I'll do a study on it this week. Maybe not. But it's probably also any time it gets this high, it might be a good time to take a week or two off. Just because it's not this high for no reason. It could come crashing down the other way. It can really mess you up when the market goes up really fast also, and you get squeezed the other way. And it can darn sure happen. It's happened to me a lot. So these markets are hard to trade. My advice would be lean, take a few shots. You can take a shot here and there buying. You don't have to sell everything you see. The guys at Tasty Trade and guys at lots of places are just in love with selling stuff. And I am too. And you do that. Well, let's ask Charles if I'm right. But I say sell everything you can 70% of the time, whenever volatility is not in, what's the normal? The normal condition is contango. Whenever we're in contango, sell. Sell puts, sell calls, do iron condors, do mean reverting strategies, whatever. But whenever it gets, whenever it gets in backwardation, or you could also just say whenever you get under the 200-day moving average. Charles, do you use any kind of filter to know? I mean, do you you have a lot of systematic stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you do something different when you pass under the 50-day or the 20-day or the 200-day or something. Anyway, but you don't have to give your secrets away to everyone. But I was just looking at who's here, and Charles knows exactly what I'm talking about, I think. And if I got it wrong, put it in the comments, Charles. Historic says, I haven't seen you around here before. Historic, I appreciate you being here. Said, got me some XYLD, lowest it's ever been. And that company, as far as transparency and websites go, that is a great company. I mean, you can go back and they'll show you how much they've received in. It's just why I like this kind of stuff. They show you how much they receive selling covered calls every month, going back to when that fund started. They'll also show you how much they really made because they keep some of it. Then they'll show you how much they paid out. I've used their website to research other stuff. It's a great resource. But anyway, and they're good people. I think that one's it's not gonna be the one where you're gonna be able to quit your job tomorrow. Oh, I bought QYLD, but that's not the goal with that one. It's going to be the one where you're going to have it a year from now, and you're going to say, yeah, that thing, it does a pretty good job. It pays me 12%, pays me 1% a month, just like it's supposed to, with very little issues with the NAV. It's going to have issues with the NAV whenever the market pulls back, but it's not a fund like that's not going to have extra issues with the NAV like some of these other ones do that have higher levels of depletion, right? So anyway, I think that's a good choice. Let's see what Charles is saying. Charles is saying he exited his bearish positions, went long. Yeah. But I was wondering a few weeks ago when it crossed under the 200, do you have something that caused you to exit your bullish positions? I'll just wonder if you have a filter that caused you to do the opposite. But yeah, that's great. Charles is probably the smartest guy in here that I know of. There may be somebody that's quiet. I don't know. But just of the people that have emailed me and stuff, Charles is very experienced. And if he says, if he covered his shorts, that's good news. That's what I'm saying. My long stock buys are stochastic, RSI under 6. Yeah, we got to get something going the other way. I mean, it's great to have puts. I covered my puts today also, but I rolled some of them out for next week. I always have some runners on, but I want something that's going the other way in case my runners are going to get thrown off base. That's what will happen. Eventually the market's going to rally and the runners will be dead. But when that happens, whatever's going the other way. I mean, Kroger, I don't know. I heard Kroger's up yesterday, or on CNBC today, they said, looks like the Fed's going to have to do some extra rate cuts now, or possibly they aren't happy about it. But somebody made a real strong case for Rocket Mortgage and said, as soon as the rate cuts happen, there's going to be a refi boom. And so I'm saying it's going to have to be some type of idiosyncratic. I'm looking for those types of situations, but I need a long. I don't have any going into next week. All I got is Q puts, and I don't have that many of them, and it's whatever. But on Monday I'll be looking for longs, but also I'm going to try to be patient and not just catch a falling knife. I'd like to maybe make one higher low first. When we start making a higher low, I'm going to start looking for, I even like get an NVIDIA call spread or something. I like stocks that are good stocks like NVIDIA. There's nothing wrong with NVIDIA. It's just a bad situation for the entire market right now. So I like those types of plays. I might play a Planeteer call spread next week or something, but I need something to profit whenever the market goes back up. Waste management's a good idea, Brandon. That's not a Costco. I mean, people always mention Clorox, and just things like that, Kroger. I mean, and even those may not do great, but they aren't going to do as bad as the rest of the market. So anyway, well, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. There's 22 of you. That's the most I've noticed. Anyway, I say, it's too bad what happened to Chimera. Hopefully they aren't like canceling FinTwit people, because this George Gammon guy was excellent. I don't want him to get canceled, but I'm sure he'll just go to Rumble. If they cancel my station, I would think I would just go to Rumble, right, or something. I mean, I might just go to Substack or I don't know. Anyway, there's lots of places out there. Tony says, I'm never selling, writing those distributions down to zero. That's what it feels like now. I know it. Oh, yeah. Well, did he go bust or did he delete his channel? Hey, it's none of our business. Anyway. MSTR is something else. Okay, I now keep saying I'm going to let you guys go, but one other thing I'm going to review real quick, and because I think you guys are interested in this, and I'm going to do it this weekend, and then I'm going to have a show. But the retirement simulator, what I've been doing is I have a new factor, but the new factor measures how well the stocks are doing. Last week, related to each other, and not how well the stocks are doing technically. It doesn't look at yield. It just looks at price action, because I was tired of being on these. I wanted a filter that gets me out of something like AMD. Well, anyway, or these were the stocks last week. Goldie, and this was of my list, and it was the top rated ones. And it's not including the SPY or something that doesn't pay a yield. I ran everything on my list, and anything that pays a yield, I just chose the top ones. So Goldie, number one last week. Then Bondi was the number 2 high yield fund, according to my metrics. Then TLTW, then Devo, then Zomo, NFLP, NFLY, USOY, MSTY, and JEPY. JEPI. I'm sorry about that. I'm interested to run it because it'll look at the price action of the actual high yield fund. And there's been a lot of damage done. I'm interested to see if Misty's still going to be on the list, and it probably will. It might even move up higher. I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix dropped off some of the, and maybe even gold with the big down move today, but then some of these other ones moved up. But anyway, it's kind of a pain to run these numbers. I just run them once a week, but I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to have content, and I'll post them in Discord. But anyway. Kroger's up 15% annual over the last 12 years. It's amazing, right? Waste management. The mob's gone mainstream. In the old days, the mob used to control control that business, and lots of businesses. And maybe they do now, but they do it through LLCs and stuff, I guess. But anyway, well, guys, I really appreciate you guys. It's been a tough week, but hopefully, next week we'll at least get a good dead cat bounce, and that would be awesome. And remember, it's kind of a different situation than most bear markets, because this bear market could be solved with the tweet, or a couple of tweets, and there are situations that could solve this real fast. So that's why I'm not just totally giving up all hope. It's it'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right, Mark, I'll talk to you later. Thanks everyone for being here, especially the ones that I haven't seen yet. JG. Bitcoin theory was a safety. Yeah. It was. I mean, so it was also about DeFi. It was also about not being part of the machine, right? Problem is the machine has integrated with Bitcoin now. So as Bitcoin adjacent stocks like grow and get bigger, some days MicroStrategy will be the biggest stock in the S&P 500. So that's good. It's good and it's bad. The thing is, when it becomes like that, it no longer has that kind of counter society appeal, and it's no longer that the safety play by being unaffiliated with big finance. You guys know what I mean. But anyway, Dan, I appreciate you. I've been here for an hour. We can talk in Discord this weekend, okay? Jay, hey, I appreciate you. You guys have a great day. I don't know why I can't say JG. I keep trying to say. Anyway, but yeah, have a great day, every one of you guys. If I didn't see you and address you personally, I appreciate you for being here, Jay Boy. Let's see what. Anyway, hey, hang on. Let me make sure I got this one. Yeah, with the VIX. Well, option buying should be killing it. Well, no, they should both be killing it. With the VIX so high, option selling should be good as it comes down. Correct. But with the VIX going, what I was trying to say is when we dropped under the 200-day past couple of weeks ago and started dropping, those were decent times to be long. I mean, that's all I was saying. You don't have to be as cautious about just wanting to sell everything you see, because you aren't fighting the uphill, on volatility. All right, guys. You have a great day. Thank you very much.